But one of the things I love about Pete is he's known on a first name basis. So I'm Joe. He is Joe. I'm honored to be the vice mayor for the city of Roanoke, and I'm honored today to officially endorse Pete Buttigieg for president. He is one of the most inclusive, compassionate people that I have ever seen. I'm looking forward to the day when I get to meet him. But I want to tell you just a couple of quick things about why he's so special and why it's important that we elect him president. First of all, he comes from a city similar in size to Roanoke. The demographics of South Bend and Roanoke are very similar. He understands that the heartbeat of the United States are our small cities and our rural communities. And of all of the candidates, he has one of the strongest rural platforms of anyone. And in order for a Democrat to get elected president this fall, they have to believe in and support rural communities and understand small cities. Roanoke is the same. We're a small urban hub in rural Southwest Virginia. So it's critical that in understanding that about ourselves and understanding where he comes from, we can support him and know that he's supporting us and understands us. I love that when Pete feels vulnerable as a leader, he surrounds himself with people who bring him strength. He's willing to learn where he needs to learn and learn from the best and bring them together to be part of his team because he builds relationships. And we need a president who builds relationships and is willing to work with people, whether they are Democrat, Republican, Independent, name your party. He can do that. I also love that he's a veteran, that he speaks multiple languages, that he understands the value of multicultural community. That's who we are as the United States. I could go on and on and on, but I want to celebrate who Pete is. I want to celebrate his qualities and his qualifications, and I want to celebrate that he's been a mayor, and he knows what it is to govern, and he knows what it is to translate that into a larger scale of governance. And so I'm proud of him and so honored to support him today. Now, I get to introduce one of the really coolest mayors in the United States.
My kids have not spoken to them.
I have not. Christine Hunschofsky is the mayor of Parkland, Florida, and was mayor when the tragic shootings occurred at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. She has known the tragedy of the community. She has seen it firsthand. She understands what it is to be compassionate, what it is to be a fierce advocate for reasonable gun control, what it is to bring a community together that is experiencing trauma and show them through who she is how to heal and how to be activists and how to make a difference and how to change the world for the generations yet to come. So will you join me in welcoming the Honorable Mayor Christine.
Kids so that they realize that I am cool in somebody's life. First of all, it is such an honor for me to be here today. I first of all want to thank every single one of you who are here today. None of this is possible without you, without the hard work you put in, without the canvassing you've been doing, without the phone calls you've been making, without the relational organizing you've been doing. That is what makes a difference with this campaign. The beauty is we have a candidate, Pete Buttigieg, who is just, in my opinion, incredible. I had first seen Pete several years ago as part of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, where all the mayors from around the country come together and we listen and learn from other mayors. And I remember the first time I saw him, he was up on the stage, it was in front of all the mayors, he got to speak, and I thought he was very young, and I couldn't believe how he blew me away with his intelligence, his poise, and he was a mayor that all the other mayors wanted to talk to, learn from. He had been working on how technology was changing the workforce and what cities had to do to help their communities cope with that challenge. So Pete's special for a lot of reasons. He's intelligent. I would argue he's always the most intelligent person in the room, but he never walks into a room as if he's the most intelligent person. Leadership today, when we talk about, we hear people talking about leadership, we often, strength, and you have to be, fight. But leadership is listening. How can you lead a community if you haven't listened to the different experiences of the people you're supposed to be governing? The people you're supposed to be representing, the people you're supposed to be serving. That's one of the things Pete does well. He's not afraid to say, I might not know everything. Let me listen to your story, because your experience could be very different from mine, and I can learn from that. He was an executive mayor. So while many mayors, in my case, for example, we have a city manager, so I don't run the day-to-day operations. Pete was the executive mayor. He ran the whole city. So he's not just an elected official, he actually has 8 years of executive experience. And for anybody who has been an executive, as an executive, you don't get anything done by yourself. You know how to assemble a team. That's what makes you successful. You know how to put a vision forward where people say, that's where I want to be. And he has military experience. He's the only one who's served this country. So when he talks about patriotism, it's not just a campaign talk. It's not just, a quick soundbite. It's an experience that he has uniquely had. And these are the things that make Pete, in my opinion, so special. In this day and age where everybody seems so divided, we really need someone who unites us. I've often used the example, if we were to ask people the top 10 adjectives, the top 20 adjectives, 30, 40, 50 adjectives that they would use to describe themselves, to explain who they are to someone, I don't think anybody would pick their political party as one of those adjectives to say who they are. And yet we've become a society where if somebody has a different letter next to their voter registration, we're already making judgments about them. We have to get to a place again where we talk to each other on a human level, when we look at each other, whether we agree or disagree, that we all have value. And Pete does that. And he doesn't just talk about it on the debate stage. He doesn't just talk about it in his stump speeches, but he actually walks the walk. And in leadership, if you're trying to heal, and if you're trying to regain trust, which is, by the way, the only way you can govern effectively, is when people trust you, then you can't just talk the talk, but your words and your actions need to be perfectly aligned. And Pete does that. I was in Iowa, I was in New Hampshire. The organization that Pete has put together is amazing. So probably a year ago, I'm probably the only person in this room that knew who Pete Buttigieg was and knew how to pronounce his name. And look at what he's done in just over a year. It's been nothing short of incredible. And that's because he's a leader. He knows how to lead, he knows how to manage, he knows how to bring people together, and he knows how to set a vision. Anybody here heard of the rules of the road?
Ooh, yep.
He holds us all to a standard, including himself, of those rules of the road. The belonging, the joy, the respect. People talk about Pete's age. I would prefer to look at his qualifications. He has every qualification that I'm looking for in a leader and a president. And it's about picking the right leader at the right time. And at a time where we have family members who can't have a peaceful dinner together because of a disagreement, I think it's time for our country to pick the best person to be the President of the United States. And that, in my opinion, is clearly Pete Buttigieg. So thank you for the work you're doing. The Pete team, they have a plan. They know we have to win the most delegates. This is all about delegates. They have organized in the places they need to organize. in the congressional districts in order to get those delegates, and you are a key component of that. So thank you so much for all the work you're doing. Thank you for your efforts, and thank you for being part of Team Pete and supporting the absolute best candidate for President of the United States. Thank you.